So we are so pleased to be with you, Laurence, Laurence Kwark from GCF, during this conference organized by the United Nations Interagency Task Force on Social and Solidarity Economy, speaking about SDG and social and solidarity economy, so which is the role. And we are really interested to understand, in your opinion, why civil society organizations, especially working in SSE, should be part of a process related to UN system and also related to Agenda 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for the question. I think, first of all, because it is true that the majority of social solidarity economy organizations and enterprise are not so interested in the SDGs. But this is something that, because they have set their social or economic objective very at the local level, thinking that what they are doing, what they have produced, or what they have contributed in terms of social impact has nothing to do with the SDGs. It comes from ignorance and lack of awareness on the SDGs. And the other side, at the moment, at the same time, they are very eager and very much concerned about how to measure their effectiveness of their activities and their actions, not only in terms of quantitative impact, because this is more easy, how many employment we have created, how much more turnover has been increased, and this is an indicator that every economic activities or every enterprise are using. But what makes difference between social economy organizations, social enterprise, and other enterprise, where actually we need certain set of criteria which allow them also that what they are doing are really making in terms of economic but also social impact of change or of transformation, which is difficult for them to measure. And I think that SDGs is providing really a very good framework as well as indicators, which they don't need as a small structure of social enterprise and social organization to do a research, to invest, in developing their own indicators, so on and so on. Because this is not their job. The entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs; they are not the researchers. So if you start to develop those things on your own, of course you will never be professional, and you will be overburdened. And so that is one of the things I think is a universally proposed standard and indicators by the United Nations, which has to be implemented at the local level, and who are implementing those things with that spirit and that framework of the sustainable developments are the social economy actors. So I think certainly there is a link to build between what social economy actors and enterprises are doing on the ground, without knowing that this can be measured through this kind of indicators and could be explained in terms of impact and development discourse to other decision makers. So I think in that sense, certainly this linkage is very necessary. I do not think that this linkage has to be built by the entrepreneur themselves, because as I said, it's not their job. That's why the role of researchers, university institutions, or statistic bureaus of the government, these people are important, because this is their job. They have to analyze those statistics, data, like what UNIST has done. That UNIST has not collected, has not produced those impact, but UNIST are taking all those information and statistics, are reinterpreting and reanalyzing using that existing criteria and indicators of SDGs. Mm-hmm. What is interesting, I think, even for the case of our study on Seoul, that even decision makers at the Seoul metropolitan government, they have never looked at through other lens of indicators and evaluations what they have produced. And it's very impressive, that even though still the size of social economy in Seoul is representing less than 2% of GRDP, but in terms of employment creation for the citizens, it does represent 60% of newly created employment in a city like Seoul,
And speaking about local governments, what's in your opinion their role and the importance of having partnership between the social and solidarity economy organizations and the local governments in order to localize the SDG and rethink the way of development, especially at territorial level?
Yes, because I think this partnership is an essential element to make this strategy to work. I think social economy organizations, enterprise are real actors. If you like, if are really artisans who are making productive or even service activities to be offered to the citizens. Because they are engaged on the ground, day-to-day life and day-to-day struggles to improve social service, quality of life, whatever their social objective, or to create or improve the quality of employment. This, while they're doing this, they would see a lot of pitfalls, obstacles, challenges they encounter with existing legal and public framework. And this feedback to the local governments are very important, because the local governments, they are not entrepreneurs. So when they prepare the laws and public policies, most of the time prepared by the commission of experts who are mostly the professors, consultants who have never been in real field of economic life. So they might have a very good ideas in theory, but it might not work in reality, or it might have different impact or consequences. So I think this dialogue, permanent dialogue, is very important, both to improve actions of the entrepreneurs or organizations in the field, but also public government, public authorities and local governments constantly to see whether those tools or those frameworks, those strategies they have prepared for the actors are really working. What are those obstacles, challenges, pitfalls that they have to address and improve, to meet the needs of the population as well as actors. So I think we have seen very many cases when there is this. I'm not saying always this dialogue is very peaceful, very collaborative. Of course, if through the because from each perspective, what you are looking for might be very different. But if you are engaged in long-term partnerships, more and more, whether you get to know each other and also each other's role and responsibility, then we start to gain more synergies, and in order to develop the really win-win experience, win-win partnership. And this is not only possible between local government and social economy enterprise and social economy organizations, but also engage more or directly with the communities or the citizens. So this is what we call a conducive ecosystem. So finally, because social enterprise or social economic organizations, they have to respond to the need of populations. So they are also, in a sense, in the same position as the local government, because they are proposing something and they need constantly measure what they have proposed are really meeting the need of populations. So I think this monitoring, evaluation, and adjusting their strategies are really necessary. And in order to do this, it's very important to measure and then also to evaluate. Mm-hmm. And that outcome is a very important, I would say, impact or discourse that will make a better understanding, better recognition, or better visibility of social solidarity economy. Because the people who are not engaged in social solidarity economy, they do not know what you are doing, and they always say that we are doing good for the society, we are doing good for the environment, But for all those people who are not directly involved, they need a more independent, autonomous, neutral outcome of the monitoring report and impact, so everybody can agree about this. Yeah. So I think in that sense, really SDGs are providing a very good framework, and is universally accepted. Of course, not all the targets, all the indicators are applicable to every context. So I think it's a living tool that we can adjust, and we can also experiment some of things which works, which might not work, and we can make that contribution also back to the UN. So I think this is also another kind of.
Just really key three secrets in the preparation of the next forum. So how is going the preparation and what should we expect?
I think the preparation for the next GCF Global Forum in 2020 in Mexico is exactly the case of our dialogue, building dialogue and partnership between local government and social economy actors and enterprise. I'm saying, in a sense, really the city of Mexico has a vision and has a strategy to promote and to support social economy as a strategy to improve well-being of citizens, as well as not only to create employment, but really to address inequalities, disparities, including gender inequalities, regional inequalities, ethnic inequalities, in all sense of those inequalities, disparities, and to promote equal democratic economic systems or economic culture. But this is what they would like to achieve in terms of objective. But in present situation, in terms of actors of social economy, they do have only very traditional actors, which are the cooperative. Mm-hmm. And many of those cooperatives are doing a great job, I mean, especially in the rural areas, in the agricultural areas. But the city of Mexico is a very big urban city. So those traditional form of social economy organizations are not very adapted to urban situations. And the issues they are dealing with are not something to do with agricultural productions or improving of services or transformation of agricultural foods. The issues that cities dealing with or citizens are facing on every day are the housing issues, probably transport, public services, hygiene. So the issues are very different. So we need also different form of social economic organizations or social enterprise or anyway dealing with different issues, but also using different form of governance and responding to those needs. And I think because they are, as like many government, they would like to promote means these are not yet happening. So we as the network of GCF, we are working always through a very equal partnership between local government and coordinated actors of social economy organization and enterprise. But when you have only one sector and not other sectors, which are not organized to the need of urban issues, then we have a little bit unbalanced relationship. So that made a little bit of our process to start delayed and difficult, because the very first step to prepare our process, bottom-up process, has to start by forming a local organizing committee composed by local government and social economy actors and enterprise. But since we have not identified all those actors and enterprise in the city, who does what, who will represent what interest, what issues, and I think you need certain time to do their jobs. And then, even though our forum is hosted by the City of Mexico, City of Mexico is a hosting city does not mean that actually we will be only dealing with issues of Mexico City. It's a global forum, so we have to also address the whole issues of Mexico as a federal government, which has so much regional disparities, ethnic disparities. So we need also to integrate reality of social economy from other states, from other sectors, from other actors. So that's why we took a little bit of time to build this partnership with the City of Mexico and also with the federal government of Mexico to share role and responsibility, and also to clarify who is doing what and why we are building this ecosystem. So thanks God, I mean, after a few months of this intensive dialogue and clarifying our different understanding, concept, methodology, what means the bottom-up approach, and all that.
There is a common way forward
Now,
to the forum.
The roadmap is prepared, and I think now we are moving quite quickly. So date are decided. So the GSEF 2020 forum is going to take place from 23rd to 25th of October in the City of Mexico. But as I said, both coordinated by the National Institute of Social Economy of federal government, who are really going to bring all the actors and all the sectors of social economy to be part of the process and to make decisions in the whole process. And also at the same time, we are engaged with all our members from other countries in the continent as well as from other continents in order to
create exchange and
participate and to contribute and to make a collective decision-making process. I think those things are very beautiful in words. I must say, in reality, of course, it takes a lot of time-consuming because it requires a confidence-building relationship. So we need to get to know each other with all difference of culture, but also reality of social economy with a different understanding of definition, concept. So
it's true that trust is one of the key principles of social and solidarity economy.
So I would say that that whole process where we are constantly sharing, discussing, reflecting about this different understanding, concept, strategy, these are very important process rather than the event. And I think if we are really able to build this process to be in convergence with the values and principles of social solidarity economy, through our past experience, our forum is going to be a big success.
So with this positive note, I really thank you.
I hope to see you all there.
We will be there.
Our GSEF Global Forum in